Well, dear ladies and gentlemen, shareholders, welcome to our annual shareholders meeting. It's great to be with you. Right before beginning, I'd also like to say a warm welcome to Judith Hartman. She joined the company in March. She'll be taking over as CFO in June. Welcome, Judith. We're really glad to have you on board. She succeeds Wolfgang Nickel, who's joining us for his last annual shareholders meeting today. So Wolfgang, from all of us at Bayer, thank you for your service for the company and its mission. I've come to know you, Wolfgang, as a highly skilled, reliable colleague and friend. I'm really grateful for our partnership, so thank you. Well, in March 2024, we set Bayer's agenda for the next 2 to 3 years. Revitalize the pipeline, reduce debt, significantly contain litigation, tackle bureaucracy, and focus the company exclusively on our mission. And since then, we raised our ambitions for our crop science business, laying out a 5-year plan to boost competitiveness and to be first to the farm with innovation that will shape agriculture for generations. Now we're 2 years down the road. No corner of the company is the same as it was. The company is leaner and faster. The pharma portfolio and pipeline are more promising than perhaps ever before. Crop science is executing its performance improvement plan. The debt burden is lower. We've advanced a multi-pronged strategy to address the litigation uncertainty. Our businesses delivered the 2025 numbers in virtually every metric. Overall, we see great progress. But here's the thing. The work isn't complete yet. Our turnaround plan is still in full swing. We've advanced each of our priorities to a crucial juncture, but not a single one is complete. We have medicines in the pipeline that we need to bring to patients, businesses to make more profitable so we can fund future innovation, debt to reduce, litigation to contain, an operating model that's installed and generating wins, but still needs to be scaled more widely. Our list of to-dos is clear. There are big milestones and decisions ahead, and I'm confident that the coming months will set Bayer up for a brighter future. The 88,000 people of Bayer know this. They've shown great resolve in bringing the company to this point. And thanks to them, I, alongside my colleagues and the management board, fully expect Bayer will leave 2026 and enter 2027 stronger than we've been in a long time. Now, before jumping ahead, let's review 2025 and the outlook we've shared for this year. 2025 was a crucial year. We had patent expiries and important launches in pharmaceuticals. We had regulatory headwinds and margin pressure in crop science. We had to recalibrate our growth in consumer health. We entered the year knowing it would be decisive for our turnaround, and we delivered. Team Bayer registered sales of 45.6 billion euros. Our core earnings per share came in at 4.91. We generated 2.1 billion euros of free cash flow, and we reduced our net financial debt to 29.8 billion euros. As previously communicated, we expect net financial debt to increase in 2026 due to litigation-related expenses. Each of our businesses progressed. A new picture of our pharma portfolio emerged, with Nubeqa and Kerendia more than offsetting Xarelto declines. More to come there. Crop science kicked off its 5-year framework and took difficult decisions to shore up margins and prioritize investments. And while consumer health struggled on the top line, we protected the bottom line. Our team has a clear picture of which brands in which markets need attention. Now, in terms of outlook, we anticipate a solid year across our businesses, which are off to a good start. We expect continued momentum behind our launch products to compensate for declines in pharma and crop science due to loss of exclusivity and regulatory pressures. In addition, we'll continue to invest in our pipeline and launch products in 2026 to set ourselves up for growth in 27 and beyond. Before accounting for FX changes, we see our core earnings per share landing roughly in line with last year. Finally, we're expecting a negative free cash flow this year due to litigation-related payouts. Now, those are the financials. Let's look at our 5 priorities. 2025 was a year in which Bayer took a hard look at its challenges, and we acted on each of them. The pharmaceutical pipeline. 2 years ago, there were some question marks about our pipeline. Today, the work isn't finished, but we're seeing instead exclamation points. Nubeqa, a cancer treatment, and Kerendia grew at a combined 68% last year, and the recent approval for Kerendia underscores the treatment's potential in both heart failure and chronic kidney disease, with blockbuster potential in each indication. The Beyonttra launch is outpacing expectations. 1 year after its launch, half of newly diagnosed patients in Germany are receiving Beyonttra to treat a fatal heart condition. This year, the launch of Linquet, a non-hormonal treatment for menopause symptoms, is in full swing. We started in the US and are now expanding to the EU. In February, we released outstanding results for asundexian, our investigational medicine in secondary stroke prevention. We hope to make it available to patients as soon as possible. On crop science profitability, we kicked off an extensive performance improvement program, and the focus now is on delivery. We've taken steps to rationalize our portfolio and our footprint. We're reshaping our crop protection portfolio around higher margin, more innovative molecules. Plenexos was launched in Colombia in late 2025, and we're planning to hit the market in Brazil once we receive registration, which we expect later this year. This is an insecticide that can protect harvests from harmful pests and spare beneficial insects with just a few grams per acre. Let me break that down. If the soccer pitch at the Bay Arena were a soybean field, you could treat it, the whole soccer pitch, with only 17 grams of Plenexos. Now, if you want to feel for how much 17 grams is, that's the weight of just two €2 coins. Imagine that, a whole soccer field with that much Plenexos. We have big innovation plans like this, which really take off in 2027 and beyond. That's why our performance improvement work in 2026 is so important. We're taking steps to improve our cash generation and to strengthen the operational foundation of our business. On litigation, for years, we've been working on a multi-pronged containment approach. In the early months of 2026, much of that approach has become visible. In February, Monsanto announced a class settlement, which received preliminary approval in early March. We've seen numerous plaintiff firms, even firms who traditionally oppose class settlements, recommend the settlement to their clients. Further, we're pleased that the United States Supreme Court will hear our case, with oral arguments scheduled for next Monday. This is a big milestone for American farmers, and a lot is riding on it. The U.S. is among the most advanced agricultural countries on the planet, and our innovation pipeline is full of new tools, including Preceon short corn that's less carbon intensive, and Icafolin, which is the first major new post-emergent herbicide mode of action in a generation. These are game-changing innovations for farmers that took decades and billions of dollars to research and develop, and which undergo serious regulatory scrutiny by expert independent agencies. Now, why continue that work if it still leaves you at the mercy of a $600 billion litigation industry? More and more people understand this, and we'll keep making the case. Earlier this month, lawmakers in Kentucky voted to enact legislation protecting farmers' access to scientifically regulated crop protection products. We're grateful to see a broad coalition of farmers, farm groups, and the scientifically minded public calling on lawmakers in other states to take similar steps. Much has been done to significantly contain litigation, and this remains an active situation with important milestones and decisions in the weeks ahead. We continue to take it one day at a time, and we remain prepared for all scenarios. Cash generation and deleveraging remains a top priority. I want to acknowledge that we're once again proposing paying out the minimum dividend, as we've previously communicated. This is not an easy step, but it remains the right one for the company's financial future. As we consider our dividend policy going forward, we'll look carefully at the company's capital allocation strategy that's given our cash and debt position. Now, our final strategic priority is the advancement of our new operating model. 2 years ago, Bayer was run like any other multinational, with lengthy chains of command and strategy and budgeting processes whose key organizing principle was the 12-month Gregorian calendar. That's no longer the case. We're acting in focused 90-day cycles. We've roughly halved the numbers of layers, and we've reoriented the focus of the firm from administering to doing by cutting management by 2/3. Bayer is moving faster, more flexibly, at less cost. There's still more to do. We're focused on the vital work of scaling key mechanics and practices of the new system. We feel this setup positions us well for the coming artificial intelligence revolution. In fact, if you listen carefully, many companies leading the AI charge are moving in a similar direction. Flatter organizations, larger teams, more nimble rhythms, and faster, more fluid sharing of information. You know, there's a popular phrase at Bayer. It probably exists at a lot of large companies, which are home to vast expertise that's fragmented in research labs and sub-teams and meeting minutes. The saying is, if Bayer knew what Bayer knows, well, soon we may know. You know, we're exploring how artificial intelligence can unlock the extensive Bayer intellect, speed up key processes, and free up our people to get more creative about tackling health for all, hunger for none. We continue to make significant investments in our IT infrastructure, in streamlining our systems and simplifying the way we sort data so that people at Bayer and our customers can benefit from the full intelligence of the enterprise. This is a company that serves 600 million consumers with everyday health treatments, that processes more than 25 billion data points in seed genotyping. If dynamic shared ownership is our opportunity to make the enterprise more entrepreneurial, agentic artificial intelligence is our chance to make the organization more effective, with every individual at Bayer commanding more data, more autonomy, and more resources for our mission, health for all, hunger for none. That mission is optimistic, but it doesn't exist in a vacuum. We're living in times when its optimism might feel quite distant. Wars, uncertain international relations, a warming planet, technological disruption, interruptions to the availability of important inputs like fertilizer for the world's farmers. These are times of great upheaval. In the past 3 months, I've been on both coasts of the United States. I've spent time in Germany, China, and India. I've had the chance to speak with people who are running global artificial intelligence platforms and people who farm plots of land that are smaller than this room. I've spoken with political decision makers across the ideological spectrum and people on the shop floor. No matter with whom I speak, the conversations have a lot in common. Great concern for our world, a desire to make things better, and a clear sense of focus on the things that matter most. In uncertain times, the superficialities are stripped away. Companies must ask the questions: what can we do? How can we serve a world in turmoil? There's nothing superficial about health for all, hunger for none. We're active in essential sectors. We do work that people depend on for their basic needs. I've met people across the company, and I'm consistently humbled by their expertise and great dedication to our work. Last month, I visited Team Bayer in India. Our consumer health team in India reaches at least 20 million people who otherwise have limited access to care, with sales channels that range from open-air markets to on-demand deliveries in 15 minutes or less. Just a few weeks ago, our crop science site in Zambia celebrated 1 year of production. Just a few years ago, the region where we built this site could barely feed itself. Now we're planning to triple Zambian corn output, reaching up to 10 million smallholder farmers by 2030 and supplying seeds to neighboring countries. In 2025 alone, Team Bayer reached 68 million women in low and middle income countries with modern contraception, 53 million smallholder farmers with key agricultural products and services, and 82 million people in underserved communities with self-care. This is a company people can count on for the fundamentals. That's true today, and we're working on tomorrow. Let me share two examples, one from agriculture and one from health. 4 billion people on this planet depend on synthetic fertilizer for their food, and around 1/4 of global fertilizer production passes through the Strait of Hormuz. Together with expert partners, Bayer is one of the few companies working to enhance the natural capabilities of key plants like corn, like wheat, to improve nitrogen utilization, which could significantly reduce reliance on synthetic fertilizers. Imagine the potential. In human health, we're at the forefront of modern medicine's fight against Parkinson's disease. Bayer is the first company to have advanced both a cell and a gene therapy against this devastating disease. Clinical trials are running as we speak. We're in uncharted territory, and that can be uncertain, but there's no health for all, hunger for none, without venturing into new terrain, and we're steadfast in our ambition to lead this fight. Well, in uncertain times, dear shareholders, we have a mission that's meaningful. It's fundamental. It matters today and tomorrow. In the past 2 years, we've made big progress in focusing the company on that mission and clearing out everything else. Bayer is a company with a deep sense of who we are, what needs to be done, and what we exist to do in this world. We've still got a lot to accomplish, and we're on the right track. Lassen Sie mich das zum Schluss auf Deutsch zusammenfassen. Wir haben große Fortschritte gemacht, aber wir sind noch lange nicht am Ziel. Team Bayer hat eine bedeutende Mission und einen klaren Plan. Und wir stellen das Unternehmen für eine erfolgreiche Zukunft auf. Thank you for your time, your support, and trust, dear shareholders. We'll keep going in pursuit of health for all, hunger for none.